can start putting this up here for us. Up here, yeah. Good evening. My name is Dr. Carnita Atwater. I am a community advocate. I have been fighting for the people for over 45 years. I used to live in Clarksville 20 years ago, and the only two cities I will claim is Memphis, Tennessee, and Clarksville, Tennessee. So Clarksville is dear to my heart. At 28 years of age, the city of Clarksville afforded me the opportunity to be the first and the youngest dean of medical studies in the United States at 28. So I'm thankful for Clarksville. I'm a country girl, and when I get finished, I may have to kick off my shoes, so we're going to have a hallelujah good time tonight. Because what we're going to do, we're going to address some issues that most people do not want to talk about in the city council and the county commissioner meeting, okay? And so we're not here, and I'm going to set the rule. Someone's supposed to do the welcome. Faye? Ready, soldier, march. So she's not on the program, but when you run with Harriet Tubman, you must stay ready at all times. So Miss Faye, my beloved sister, she ignored me now. I would ignore me too. Can you come up and give the people a warm, loving, kinship welcome? Come on, Faye.
Welcome. But on a serious note, welcome. You will gain great knowledge today. Those of you that have lived in Clarksville for a very long time, there's still a lot that we appear to not know. My husband and I have been in and out of Clarksville since 2001, and we're still learning a lot of things about Clarksville. Today, Dr. Atwater is going to educate all of us. So I say to you, thanks for coming out, and I hope you enjoy this knowledge that she is going to give to you, as well as listen to the other people that will come to speak. They will be speaking from not what they heard or what they know, it's what they've experienced. They're going to come up with experience. So some people say, come and tell your story. They're not stories. Little Red Riding Hood is a story. They're coming up to tell their truth. We'll enlighten you about some things that are happening in Clarksville that some of you are not aware, and some of you may be aware but not speaking about it. So this new year is time for a change in Clarksville, and I hope you are here because you want to be a part of the change. Thank you and welcome. Sit back and relax.
Thank you. Now that was superb there, to be put on the spot. So I'm Harriet Tubman, and she's Sojourner Truth. So next, I never do anything unless God order my step. I would not be in Clarksville if God did not order my step. We have some work to do. And if any of you all see my Facebook Live, you need to understand that I'm not taking any prisoner, and we need to be about the business of taking care of business. I always tell people, especially black folks, we play too much and we stay too long. So that's why I'm here. Let's have a pastor to give a short prayer, because I stayed on the morning bench 10 years. So we want a short prayer if you volunteer, any pastor, because we're in the house of the Lord and we do not want to disrespect God's house. Thank you.
Do these things for us. We will continue to acknowledge you and give you
Amen. Now, the next one on the program is a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for over 25 years or more, and I know sometime I get on his last nerve. Carl Most, will you come up and do a short introduction, and then I will moderate at that point. I thought he was hiding on the pews.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time coming out this afternoon. The importance as well as the information that you will gather this afternoon is designed for you, for me, and the community, or communities, I might say, in this area. The moderator that we have today amongst us is a person that I met back in the day, the Chamber of Commerce, when there existed a Minority Business Economic Council. And those of you who have been around there, you know that was some times ago, in other words. In meeting this person, I learned very, very quickly that she has many focuses, many purposes, and a whole lot of vision, in other words. With that, you'll find someone that, as she stated, and I think it's already been said, she takes no prisoners, in other words. So with that known and understood, I would like to introduce you today to Dr. Carnita Atwater.
Thank you. Anyone that's going to hang with me for over 20-some years, they foot soldiers. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge someone that is dear to my heart. As the Dean of Medical Studies, one of my students, and I hadn't seen her in 22 years, she drove all the way from Springfield to see me after 22 years. And Kathy, stand up. Much love. Thank you. Now, anytime you have a student say she's the best, I'll give you $5 more when I leave here. Thank you. But it just warmed my heart for her to come and to listen to me. We have to get past, I know it's hard, but we have to see through race now. Either we're going to unify or we're going to suffer together. And in 2024, we are intelligent, we should be bold enough, we should have enough respect for each other to move forward. And I don't care about the political climate. I don't care if you Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. I do not care about that. I'm a Democrat. But what I will not do is denounce my sisters and brothers because I love them. Kathy is a Republican. I'm a Democrat. When I ran for governor, she crossed over and voted for me. Okay? So that is a blessing. We have to see through our pain. So I'm going to start this off. I am a community developer. And in Memphis, they had a comprehensive plan called the Memphis 3.0. And when I dissect that plan, I acknowledge and identify the racial disparities in that plan. Now, you have to understand when you're looking at a comprehensive plan, you have to read it sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, and page by page. Because what they're doing some okie dokie in these community comprehensive plans. The first thing, and I'll go on, I keep to the program, and 4:45, we're going to expedite that thing. We're getting out of here at 5 o'clock. Okay? It's not where you start, it's where you finish. So, Reverend Al Sharpton, he was supposed to be here tonight. And he told me to get the intake and facts find, and once we get all that together, then he's going to come here. Because whatever we find, we're going to shine light on Clarksville. And it's time. The things that I went through, even in Clarksville as a dean, and I'll share this with you, I have no hidden agenda. in Clarksville, as the Dean of Medical Studies, I was arrested because I wrote a $40 check for tags, and I had 2 checkbooks. You know how you transfer your money, but I guess the money didn't went in because I was in Virginia. And so when I came back, they had a arrest warrant on my door. And I went in just as gullible. I know I'm not no criminal. I'm not going to get arrested. They arrested me, but they let me go. So I'm very familiar about what people can do to you in Clarksville. And sometimes people get arrested because the deck is stacked up against them. And you know, being African Americans, we have to fight every day of our life. And then people that do not look like us, they do not really understand our life experience. And so we have to make it clear to them. They have to have a listening ear to see what's going on with their black sisters and brothers. And I think once we do that, we can move forward. But the main responsibility that we have is to teach our children to do better, to move forward. We're not fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for the next generation and the next generation. So can you commit yourself to fighting for these young people? Who would do that? Raise your hand. Okay, that's what this is all about. I often say we're dying. But I also say I'd rather die on my feet than to die on my knees. And that's my motto. Someone told me, Carnita, you're not scared to come to Clarksville and speak what you're getting ready to say? I said, no. I have always been covered by the blood of Jesus. Because if not, I would have been dead a long time ago, fighting against the KKK and the Sons of Confederate. Bullets going across my head. And big as my head is, it didn't hit me. Blood of Jesus. So I'm here today. And so Reverend Al Sharpton wanted me to tell you that he's a dear friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for 50 years. And Lord knows if that man didn't kill me, nobody's going to kill me. He put me in some dangerous situation, but still we rise. Dr. Martin Luther King, and that's where we are started because we're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who, what I call accidentally, came to Memphis, Tennessee, and was assassinated. Now, a loving man, a godly man. He loved everybody. So the question would be, why did he get killed? Because of the same systemic racism that we are experiencing today. And I'll tell you, we're living in a new Jim Crow. Okay? Now, like it or not, the proof is in the pudding. Housing disparities, economic disparities, taxation without representation, voter suppression, gross criminal arrest. We're living in Jim Crow time. And that's why I brought those shackles. Let us never forget. Because they have removed the shackles off our feet and our hand, and now we have them in our head. You know who I have to fight against the most when I'm going out doing community activism? It's black folks. And so that's why I'm here today. We used to be loving and caring people. United we stand, or divided we fall. So with that said, I want to acknowledge all of the politicians. This is not a section where we're going to be tearing people down. This is a meeting where we want to uplift your spirit, uplift the community. Because remember now, don't say too much about Clarksville. I love Clarksville, Tennessee. But every so often, you have to discipline your baby. And so I'm here to discipline and expose the systemic racism going on in this city. And I know they've seen some of the videos. So I keep my promise. And so now I'm going to acknowledge, and then I'm going to call roll. I invited all the city councils here, the county commissioners here, and both of the mayors. Okay? So don't take it personal, it's business here. Because I want your constituents to see, did you come out to support them, just to have a listening ear to their African American voice. Because we know that when you're running for election, you're all up in our black churches. You're all up in our black community. We want to see your face while we're crying and begging out that for mercy to give us life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're citizens too. And one may say, go back to your country. We're all immigrants here. So if I go, you going with me. And I'm going to make sure you go with me. Because I'm going to put these shackles on you and we're going to go back to our motherland, which is Africa. Speak truth now. So I'm doing a roll call here because I want to be fair. I don't want to give nobody the attention they do not deserve. And some of these people I don't know, and they do have a little bit of funny names. So if I misspell their name, correct me. They got something like some goulash names. Okay, so let's start with City Council. And this is roll call. If you're here, raise your hand. We acknowledge you and we will give you the honorable respect that you deserve. And before I call roll, I see a lady in here. I'm here because of a conversation I had with a city council. We was giving away, the NAACP was giving away toys and clothes, and we had a hallelujah good time. And thank you, NAACP, for everything you do. I am a lifetime member of the NAACP, and we now have to stand up and fight the injustice. But I mention that because I met this lady, and I'm surprised she didn't run away from me because I turned the heat on her. And I was telling her, you're a city council. Why did you not tell the constituent about that Clarksville, Montgomery County comprehensive plan? And she was looking at me, she's very diplomatic. And I said, by the way, how many African Americans you have in charge, and I'm talking about not just city placement, but in charge to make sound decisions about economic development? And by the way, what percentage of your contract goes to African Americans? And she just looked at me. I want for her to stand up, because for someone to humble themselves and listen to me, and she gave me her card, I thought that was admirable. Karen Reynolds, stand up. Now, that is the type city council woman or man that we need in Clarksville. And I give one more. I don't know the guy, but he was the first one to respond when I sent out the emails. And he said, I want to come and listen to what they have to say. And I also look forward to coming to the meeting. And I don't know him, but his last name, I researched him. I think his father was a judge, but I researched him, Shelton. Are you here, Shelton? I was surprised. So when I researched Shelton been fighting too. I said, ooh, Lord, they're going to get rid of him. Him and Reynolds going to go together. so give them another hand clap. Okay, roll call. Brian, what is his name? Zacharias? You hear Brian? Roll call. Listen, people. Deanna McClarkin? Not here? Roll call. She did email me and told me she had something to do. That's okay. They won't say it when I finish with this strategic plan. Harry Tubman not going nowhere. But then I said, well, oh no, you have the wrong date. It's Saturday. Then she came back with another excuse. That's okay. DeJuan Little. DeJuan, you here? Because he was the first one to respond saying, absolutely not, I have something to do. Remember that next voting election. We're going to have something to do, vote for somebody else. Wallace Reed, you in the house? Wallace, you're not here? Okay. Remember, Amber Marquez, what's the last name? Marquise, she here? Interesting. because she looks like diversity. Okay. Pay attention, you all. Wanda Smith. Wanda Smith, you in the house? Remember the name. If they running again, we're going to, and that's part of what we're going to do, we're going to make us a list of people. I call it the hit list. I'm not taking no prisoners. We're going to do a hit list come next election. Okay, all right then, I won't do that. We'll give her something to eat, send her home. We're going to do that. I'm kidding. It's time out, sister, for playing. It's time out for playing because, again, we play too much and we stay too long. And they have our vote. They should be accountable to us. Travis Holloman. You hear Travis? Okay. Wanda Allen. Karen Reynolds in the house. Karen also running for, I think, Congress, right? State senator. Get out and vote, you all. Okay? She already have proven her record. Get out and vote. Stay at home, shame on you. Stacy Streetman. You hear? No. City Council, you all must do better. Okay? Joe, and I'm not going to even chop this man's name up. Who? Shekinah. Okay, Shekinah. Are you here? I sure did. He's not here to hear it. Okay? I bet y'all remember when we vote. I bet you that. Karen, what is this? Lovata? Where did his name come from? They're beautiful sounding though. She's not here? That's okay. We'll remember you. Okay, that's all the city council roll call. Montgomery County Commissioners. John Gannon, Jason Knight, Joe Smith, Ricky Ray, Rashida, who is this, Leverett? Michael Lankford, Nathan Burkholder, Tangi Smith. Tangi, you here? Now, I'm a little bit disappointed because this appears to be a young lady. Okay, and we're dependent on the millennials and the Gen X and the Gen Zs to show up and show out. It's not enough to get a position just to say you're holding a position. Because if you do not take care of the community that look like you, we're getting rid of you too. We're not going to do no age discrimination. Young, old, you're going. What is this, George Pedro? Jeremiah Walker? Well, yeah, Jeremiah. Thank you, Jeremiah. Why did I not think that Jeremiah was going to be in the house? Okay? Jeremiah, that name is powerful. We got you, Jeremiah. You better tell your other cronies. Joe Creek, Camille Chandler, Walker Woodruff, Joseph, what's this? Josiah or Joseph? Bill, okay. David Hopper, Lisa Pretcher. Where are these county commissioners at? They think we playing with them. Hold on, change gonna come. Billy Fry. Also, who's that? Yes, ma'am.
Bring a mic. Just a second.
Okay. You know, I like her humble spirit. Okay. Yes, it has, but what we're going to do, devastate them a little bit more when we finish our strategy plan. Oh, bless your heart. Okay. Alton Simmons and David Shelton. He's here in the house. You know, one thing I like about Mr. Shelton, County Commissioner Shelton, he just got that political smile. You don't know what he's thinking. Okay, so let's get this party started here. Rules of engagement. And I always like to talk about this because sometimes when we get emotional, we say things that we do not mean. We say things that we shouldn't say. And keep in mind, we are in the house of the Lord, and we're not trying to come here and incite anger. We're trying to embrace love and unity, okay? We won't go there alone. And so let's play make-believe. At this point, I'm going to change every black and white and brown and yellow person in here, and we're going to become purple people. Is that okay? We're going to be purple for a while. But I want you to be respectful, and you'll have 3 to 5 minutes, and I don't know how many people are here, but what I have heard in Clarksville, it should be wall to wall. But it's a nice size, and I thank you all for coming. Some people just scared, okay? When you've lived under oppression so long that you're scared you're going to lose your job, you're scared you're going to lose your friendship, your family member, and I understand that. The only family member that I have is my donkey. So, citizen intake section here, you have up to 5 minutes. I know that it's been traumatic. I've heard about 25, well, let's just say, don't say stories. Let's say testimonies, I guess. And people are suffering in Clarksville. And the things that they're doing to people. And when they finish, I'm going to tell you the story about Natasha Hinton that I know well. And I'm going to sum it up in 5 minutes because I come to fight. My arm's not too short to box with, you know. So now, the first speaker, Mike, you hear Mike? Mike not here. I was hoping Mike would come because Mike has a story that I think every county commissioner and city council should hear. And he promised me he was going to be here, but I understand some people just afraid. Where is the other gentleman? Kenny? Kenny was here. Where you at, Kenny? Come on up, Kenny. Harry Tubman got you, Kenny. Come on, Kenny. I got you. Speak truth to power, brother. Now, you know what that Los Angeles shirt, you know, we Tennessean, we country bunking, okay. Okay. Tell it raw, authentic, and real. They need to hear it.
Yes, ma'am. How y'all doing? My name is Kenny Woodson, and I was recently incarcerated. I was incarcerated about 3.5 years fighting a murder charge, and I went to trial for my murder case in January. I was found not guilty. Then I went to trial in September on my other trial. They had me charged on 14 other counts on another shooting that they charged me on. I had to sit 3.5 years to prove my innocence, and they kept pushing my trial off, so that's why I had to sit so long. I was saying I was innocent this whole time. They didn't really have any reason to even lock me up for, but just they assumed, the assumption, and in Clarksville here, all you need is it's an assumption for you to get locked up or for you to get bound over, for you to have to sit to prove your innocence. And so I had to experience that. I had 2 charge partners that was on my case. One of them guys I never even seen before, but they had them testify against me, and they got probation for the case. They admitted to robbing my homeboy and killing him, and they gave them probation just to testify against me. And they testified against me, but I got found not guilty, though. I proved my innocence. So I've been home since September 26, and I just want everybody to know how things is going. The place, somebody is blind by the system and all the corrupt things that was doing through my trial. People don't know about trial because a lot of people plead out. They sit for a long time, and the county's not a good place to be. So if you're innocent, they make you sit for a long time, and then they offer you a deal. So it's like 90% of people that plead out because they're afraid to go to trial, because there's consequences when you go to trial. But if you're innocent, you know, it's best that you do sit to fight for your life. Like, that's what I want to tell you guys.
Do you hear what that brother just said? An innocent young man, 3 years of his life taken, and he was innocent. 3 years. But that's okay, brother. We're getting ready to shine some light, and we're going to bring some fire up in here. And that's between you and I. I got you. Okay? The next one, Faye Hobson, where's she at? She's going to come up and tell her story. And who else have a story that, well, not a story, a testimony that they would like to share? Because you have the people here to listen to you. See, what we do most of the time, we do these sidebar conversation. And people do not know how to put policies and procedures together unless they know your real story. And body language is important. My eyes keep cutting over at County Commissioner Shelton because he's leaning forward. I have a master in psychology. That means something to me. Come on, Faith.
As she said, and as I said earlier, it's not a story, it's the truth. And I'm going to make it short because I can stand up here all day with everything that's happened to me in Clarksville, Montgomery County. I've lived a pretty good life. My husband and I, we've been in and out of Clarksville, as I stated, since 2001. Approximately 5 years ago, we have one daughter who's now 45 years old. Kind of tell you my age, I'm not a spring chicken. Was upset with us about some things. So she decided to tell a lie. You know how kids are. If you have kids, they do stuff. But she was a grown person telling a lie. She was in trouble, needed help. And because I am strict, when she was in school, I was a helicopter mom. And I did a lot of things to make sure that she didn't make some mistakes that I made. And so, tough love. She became so angry, she decided that the punishment for us would not to not let us see our grandkids, because we loved them and they loved us. They still do. 2 grandkids, one is 20, will be 21, one is 8, will be 9. And the punishment was to keep them away from us. I was upset, and I'm telling family business, but I have to do this so you understand. She did the same thing to their father and his parents. For years, we didn't know about it. So when I found out about it, I decided I was going to do some research. I'm not playing these games with you. You are not going to do this to our grandsons. So I do the research, heard about the corruption in Clarksville, but really didn't understand it until I had to deal with it. Okay? And so I went to the courts after conducting research and finding out that grandparents do have rights. So if you are a grandparent here in Clarksville, Montgomery County, and anywhere else, they will say, you're just a grandparent, you don't have any rights. But when you pay life insurance, when you buy the clothes, when you take care of them, when they stay in your house and you have a relationship with your grandchildren, you have rights, regardless to who gave birth to them. Well, oh and behold, I have been down at the courts before. I have filed a couple of lawsuits against some attorneys in the state of Tennessee that has power. And most other attorneys like them. So me going there is like, oh, she's not so perfect after all. Because there was nothing. I have a clean record. I don't do drugs. If I drink, it's a margarita. By the time I touch it, it's so watered down. Okay, so I've lived a good life. I really live my life the way I believe God Almighty want me to live it, as my grandmother would say. So when the pearly gates open, I'm going through. That's how I have lived my life. So to get here and have to deal with the things that I've had to deal with, so my daughter was convinced to put protective orders against me, not my husband. I didn't even know existed. This is our daughter that I raised, gave everything on a silver platter. That was probably the problem because she was spoiled. Okay, but even still, to allow people to convince her to go against her mother. Went to court. They didn't even know my name. came up and arrested me. With my sister present and my husband present. We were there that day for a court hearing about my grandparents' visitation. Judge Burns refused to hear the case because he knew they were going to arrest me. That wasn't the first time. It happened 3 times after that for the same reason. But I'm a fighter. I've been fighting since I was a little girl, and I'll continue to fight. And they didn't know that when they decided to use my own daughter and grandkids against me. A judge, I hired an attorney. By the way, I am a freelance paralegal. And because I had seen so many things happening in Clarksville, no representation, attorneys turn on you, I decided to become a paralegal in the state of Tennessee. I have the license in the state of Tennessee. Who does all the work for attorneys? Paralegals do. So now I'm helping other people. Before NAACP and many other organizations began to help people get their records expunged, I was helping people to expunge their records. I was helping people with cases where they wouldn't have to hire an attorney. So who am I, or who did I become in the state of Tennessee? One judge says to me, I know you're smart. That's a problem for you? I guess it was. So I was criminalized and given a record that I now have to clean up. That was the lesson for me helping other people. We're now going to make sure you have a record. How sad is that? I'm an educator and have been an educator for almost 30 years. And you don't care anything about my little grandkids. All you care about is revenging me because I help people. So I'll be talking about this at another time, that I will have something just to talk about different things. But like I say, I can stand up here. I'm not going to do that. But I had an attorney to say, wow, we pull your record and it's clean. You don't even have a driving ticket. No, I don't. So that, well, everybody have a record, really? I don't. Police officers, some attorneys and judges made it their business to give me a record and covered it up. I did not know anything was on my record until I went to Alaska a year ago. I had the FBI in Alaska investigating the FBI in Tennessee. There are going to be consequences. It's time for a change. The Department of Child Protective Service here doesn't help. I went to them first. They didn't help. They made it worse. But I've sat in the courts here, and I've seen judges do things that I'm going to be speaking about at another time. It's bad around here, people. Those of you that know it's bad, you need to speak out and say something. If you've ever been in court around here, there's never an argument. You know why? Because the judge and the attorneys have already had a discussion about it. You're just there because they gave you a piece of paper that say you need to be there. Okay? So I took a break, went to Alaska, went out in the village for a year to get my mind right. I'm ready, set to go. I'm not going to let it go. What I am going to do is take what I experienced and make sure it doesn't happen to other people. Again, I'll talk about this more because I'm going to launch the Grandparents Coalition in Clarksville, Montgomery County. I'm going to let grandparents know you do have rights. Because what happened to me out of vengeance and retaliation, as long as I'm in Clarksville, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. I've conducted my research, and this hasn't just happened to me. It's happened to many other grandparents. I know a grandparent that raised their grandchild for 3 years without the mom and the dad around. Took him away, and guess what? The grandchild can't even see the grandmother, and the grandmother is all that child's know. Who is that affecting? The grandchild. Do you not care, people? So I'm going to stop here because I'll be talking about this at another time. And I'm going to let other people speak and give Dr. Atwater her show back because, like I said, I can stand here all day. Thank you.
No. Just like she said, we're not here to tell stories. She said, I'm going to give Dr. Atwater her show back. We're not here to play people. This is serious business here. I could be out eating crab, love crab leg. I'd be crab leg. But we want to address the serious business now. City of Clarksville, Montgomery County, 5-year diversity action plan. And actually, I had things all in order when I came here. And I want somebody to confess who scattered my paper. Oh, that Jimmy. That's NAACP for you. The baddest, the boldest, and the oldest. My Lord. But anyway, Clarksville, and I have to find this paper because I want to go down the line because we get to get on down the train here. I'm looking for the Clarksville, the Clarksville diversity plan. And it's just one sheet. Clarksville diversity plan. I owe you one, Jimmy. So, but anyways, let me go from my head. That's what I do best. The Clarksville diversity plan, because we know that Clarksville is growing and we know that we're going to experience more diversity, but we need to experience inclusion. And the reason I'm calling this meeting because there are major events that's going to happen in January that you all do not know about. And as Clarksvillian, African American people, color, whatever you want to be called, as long as they don't call me that N-word, I'm all right, I'm cool with it, okay? But Clarksville has a 5-year diversity action plan. And when I seen that plan, because I sued the city of Memphis and Shelby County and the state of Tennessee and the governor for $20 billion for this exact same thing. And so I have studied about maybe 50 comprehensive plans. And each one of those plans have the same look, the same attribute, and the same systemic racism baked into that comprehensive plan. So let me explain to you what I'm talking about. Any comprehensive plan should take in consideration an impact study, feasibility study, when it comes to racial equity. I'm not talking about the land use, TIF. I'm not talking about that. They talk about gentrification, but they talk about gentrification very generic. They do not talk about gentrification when it comes to cultural division. When they break up our community, you take away our culture in our community, our churches in our community, our schools in our. The first school they closed down is what school? A black school most of the time. No. It's called the 5-year diversity plan. And it's one page. So that was the first thing that I identified. And city council and county commissioner, you all correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm a researcher. And I have looked for that diversity plan. And as far as I'm concerned, Clarksville does not have a diversity action plan. Am I right or wrong, political leaders? Okay, so if you don't have a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan, how are you going to approve a Clarksville, Montgomery County comprehensive plan that's going to be for 50 years or more? Now, this is the problem I have with Clarksville plan, comprehensive plan. They met with people in the community, and Clarksville have always done that, just like Memphis. They have their token few that they invite to the table. But that's not the grassroots people. You cannot bring 600, 700 people to the table when you have almost 81,000 people here? That's not a good sampling size. I did many research. So if you don't have a good sampling size, then what you're doing is skewed. So I'm saying to you, when I research, because when I research, I take it all the way up to the mountaintop, Dr. Martin Luther King. So when I start looking at the comprehensive plan, I'm trying to be damage control. Y'all be cool. It's okay. Don't give me more trouble. This is the Clarksville, Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. How many knew about that plan? Hold your hand up. 1, 2, 3, 5 people in this room. And I have a questionnaire for you too. This comprehensive plan, I'm a whole Clarksville plan up because I see what's going on. We don't have the time for me to tell you exactly the detail of this. But someone behind closed doors have got with the developers, the rich developers, and they are plotting on disinvested African American communities. That's what this plan is about. Now, if you want to challenge me, I'll get with you one-on-one and I can show you what I'm talking about. This is the Clarksville, Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. They're getting ready to approve this plan in January. Am I right? February. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time to play. I'm saying to you all, pastors, church members, sororities, fraternities, stakeholders, we need to cease this plan until we're at the table of prosperity. We need to tell them to stop this plan because I'm going to educate you, not tonight, but I'm going to educate you on what needs to be in this plan. Now, political leaders, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have not done a comprehensive impact study, how can you talk about a comprehensive plan? Aren't you not worried about what's going to happen in Lincoln Home? And that's another game they're playing too, and I'll bring that up tonight. Okay, I'm a graduate from Austin Peay State University, and the way that plan is written, they can hold some of that property back, and the next thing you know, someone come in, a private developer, and get some of Lincoln Homes, and then it's game here, you all. Stay with me now. Look up this plan. It's on their website. You don't have no excuse now. I have told you about this plan. Share it with your family members, your communities, and we're going to come back, and we're going to have a community forum. And I'm going to go page by page and dissect this plan, and I can prove to you there's no diversity in this plan, no inclusion in this plan. Oh, when I put the lawsuit against Memphis 3.0, they never read the plan. Now, if you are a political representative and you signing off on a plan, 50-year plan, that is going to be detrimental to people's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then you're legally capable, I think, of, well, I won't say go to jail because the young lady told me be nice. But look at this plan and look at Memphis plan. You see the similarity here? Okay. They have systemically went all over the United States. I know the game, but I explain it to you all the game later on. Look at this plan and look at Memphis plan. Similar in nature. It appears to me that you have people going all over the United States with this plan. And I'll give you another example how policies and procedures can affect human beings, especially when they're poor. Tax sales, tax lien sales. of poor people. You give the rich developers tax incentive, a payment in lieu of taxes, or create them a TIF. But yet you selling poor people property, tax lien sale. And most poor people live in poverty. Then they went up to Nashville. I remember when they went up there, it used to be you had 2 years. Come on, somebody. You had 2 years of redemption to get your property back. They cut it down. Politically, I'm looking at each one of them. They cut it down to 180 days, 90 days, 6, and some now they can sell your property in 30 days. Am I not telling the truth? Okay. So you see how they putting their knees on the necks of African American people. And we have to take that knee off the necks of African Americans and people of color, homeless people, poor white people that have been caught in the cycle. That's why I say it's not a racial thing here. It's more of a class thing. The homeless people that I take care of in Memphis, 90% of is young white children. When I ran for mayor, I slept 24 hours out there with the homeless people. I challenge any politician. This is not play. If you really love the people, go out there on the byways and highways and talk to the homeless people. Veterans that's homeless, they fought for this country and they living on the streets. We should be ashamed. Okay, so then, now how I prove it, I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. Hold on, change gonna come. So how I know the game is being played? I went back and I pulled the city of Clarksville. Yes.
From the diversity action plan, is that what you were speaking about, the 5-year diversity action plan?
Yes.
Okay. Just to give a reference to that, if you go to the City of Clarksville's website, if you search under the Human Relations Commission, the 5-year diversity action plan actually is a plan that was created in 2015.
It was?
It has not been updated. That is a question that should have been on the table at the last mayoral election.
That's the point I'm making.
But the mayor did not submit to any interviews or debates that would have included that question, because most people in our local press wouldn't have done the research to figure that information out. But that diversity action plan is still on the city's website. It's
Absolutely.
a diversity action plan that was created in 2015. There are 2 hyperlinks. There are 4 hyperlinks on the Human Relations Commission. The first 2 hyperlinks hyperlink to the document that you're referring to. One hyperlink doesn't have a date on it. The other document has a date from 2015. But again, it's the exact same document. It's not even a copy of the document. It's the exact same document.
Yes, I have that, and that's what I was looking for. When I do my research, I do my research.
And so that document is outdated by at least 3 years, if not more than that.
Okay. At this point, what are we going to do about it? See, and I wanted you all to see the document because they pretty much have tied their hands with this document, 1 page. I have looked at Philadelphia Diversity Action Plan, Chicago, California, New York, Atlanta. Why Clarksville does not have a diversity plan, active diversity plan, when you have all the diversity here? It's because we're not paying attention. Okay, I'm not here to blame. I'm here to take action. What are we going to do about it? Ceasefire. Okay, now, so after this, because see, when you go and fight, you got to go fully caught. Military, you all know what I'm talking about. You got to take your battalion with you, okay? And we ain't going with just no little Glock. But anyway, don't let me get started now, Harry Tubman. Come on, slow down, Harry Tubman. Now, because I'll be honest with you all, better bless your heart. I came into this church and I had to leave my gun outside, you all. I'll be honest with you about it. I don't go without no peace be still. So, I didn't know the pastor, and the pastor don't know me, and I didn't want the pastor, I want him to let me back in here again. So I said, let me leave my Glock outside. Then bring my AK-57. Okay, anyway. Don't get this little face twisted. I know Clarksville, and I know what Clarksville can do. I told you I fought against the Sons of Confederate here. But God is good, because I told them over my dead body would they put a Confederate statue on Cumberland Drive. That's where I was living at. But God have a way of softening people's heart. They have a U.S. colored troop at the Confederacy interactive thing. Now, I'm a little bit unique, a little bit different. I'm a different black woman. I love Confederacy. I have a military museum that I have Confederate soldiers in there, black and white. You're either going to tell the whole story, because what you may think your story is important, Confederacy is important to them. I participated in Confederate reenactment. Yeah, because I had to study them in Virginia. South gonna rise again. Okay, now, I pull Clarksville physical budget. This is 2024. I went back to 2024, 23, 22, 21. I went all the way back to 2014 because I had to dissect. Then I went over to Montgomery County, and I did the same thing here. When you look at the physical budget, it tells the story. Clarksville is the city, the tales of two cities. The tales of two cities. It looks pretty. Most people in Clarksville, they say, we don't have no racial problem. You all know about that killing downtown Clarksville where they burn up the whole Clarksville downtown? And so you don't know about that? Okay. So when you look in here, that's where I've seen the economic disparity. Let's move on. Black Business Economic Development Assessment. The Clarksville Montgomery County contract. People, what we need to do as a body, as a group of African American people, concerned citizens, we need to request from Clarksville and Montgomery County to give us some data on how many African Americans have contracts with the city of Clarksville and Montgomery County. I guess I can tell you that answer though. If they don't have a black judge in 2024, I can tell you that answer. That's the problem. If they don't have two African American attorneys in Clarksville, I can tell you that answer. Okay? But that's not their problem, it's our problem. What we're going to do about it? We're going to get a black agenda. See, we can't go to the city council and county commissioner putting city council Reynolds on blast and Commissioner Shelton on blast. We have to have a plan of action ourselves. They're not there to do our work. And when we roll up in there, take that mic, end a story, and what they do understand is a lawsuit. They understand that by and by, okay? But we got to put this thing together. So, and Cedric was absolutely right because the 5-year diversity action plan is outdated. So now, but in Clarksville, because I lived in Clarksville 20 years, Clarksville citizens, they do a lot of grandstanding. They do the talking on the sidebar. I'm talking about something that's going to affect their life the next 50 years, and look at this room here. Okay? So now, we're going to ask them to give us some data. We're going to request it from them in writing. Black businesses, harassment and sustainability through the building code and fire regulations. Now, that's when I get a chance to tell my testimony. This all started by way of Natasha Hinton. That young lady drove to Memphis, Tennessee to beg me to help her fight this battle. She's been going through this 2 years. She bought the building on Madison Street, $2.5 billion. Now, I don't know the personal. I'm just going by what I read and what I know. So I go by facts. I don't know about the hearsay. So she's been working on the building. They've been making her jump through hoops, putting a new fire sprinkler system in her building. That building is grandfather claused in. I own a event hall, event center in Memphis. Been on it 30 years. I know the rules and regulations. The biggest mistake she made was not learning the codes regulations. That was the biggest mistake she made. Because when they see you naive, they make you jump through hoops. And what happened was, after she did that, they came up with something else. They said she had different things in her building. Well, she received a occupancy license permit, and it states 240 people. So apparently she had a little event or whatever, and it was over the amount. She went to court, and the judge ruled against her. Absolutely. Because you cannot violate governmental rules and regulations. Okay? Then she paid the fine, which that's what you're supposed to do. That's what the code say. You got a fine, and then you have an appeal process too. After she paid the fine, somehow communication broke down, and they said that she did not have a license. Well, I put it on Facebook. I have a copy of her permit. I'm smart enough to know she's in the Madison Street Historical District. And I'm smart enough to know, I own an event planning center, that this young lady have went through atrocious acts against her. Now, some of the personal perspective, I don't know anything about that, but just reading some of these documents, and I'll just share one with you. This was the city, I think it's architect, say, Natasha. As you're aware, the revisions were required by the city, not myself. I am not in agreement with the city as for the terms of assessor use versus multi-use. They have not responded to revised plans, nor have I received as copy of the occupancy approval. Then he said, in my personal opinion, the building could be used for occupancy count of less than 300 persons because it is an existing building. Toilets are in place and most likely meet the entire code as constructed with a sprinkler addition. It can either be a mercantile or a assembly A2 banquet hall to qualify as a multi-occupancy building. And then he go on to say, one cannot exist through a detail. And he said that I use best efforts in showing information to the best of my ability, but cannot overcome the building department's concern about the business. Now, that's not the protocol. You cannot be concerned about the way people run their business if it's not illegal. You need to be concerned about the zone and the codes. Period. So where she was smart at, she has all the emails here, and she gave them to me, and I dissect them. Something is wrong with the picture. Now, she asked people 2 years. One is a city, county commission, I think. You see back there. And when it came out, because they arrest her in Indiana. Now, how do we go from violating the code to getting 4 arrest records? I'm not understanding. So I pulled the court records myself. Being African American in America, they can stack the deck on you anytime they want to because they have judges that are going to back them and sign on those arrest warrants. And that young man is a testimony to that. Him being arrested for 3 years and innocent. So I'm standing up here today, and I'm going to fight until my last breath leave my body. Because I believe that she was naive, she didn't have good business practice, and also she You should never go into any business without researching it. And that was her biggest problem. The problem they're going to have is how they treated her compared to other business. And I do have other African American business that said that they have experienced the same thing. So now this is a practice, a pattern that they're doing to African American people. I do realize too, living in Clarksville for 20 years, I have seen African American business go and come, go and come, go and come. That's the disparity that we need to address. There's no equity in Clarksville. Now, in that plan, comprehensive plan, they said they want to move forward. We can't move forward unless you're going to pull everybody along. All right, affordable housing and the wealth gap disparities. Clarksville has a major problem. And they're trying to use this comprehensive plan. Wake up, people. Wake up. Because once they approve this plan, it's going to be all over. And I'll just give you an example. See, we run out of time. I'll give you an example next time we have the meeting. When they talk about Lincoln Home, they talk about Lincoln Home been experienced disinvestment for decades. And I was thinking, what did you do about it? Because you don't wait till people houses start being dilapidated and roof falling in and holes in the wall, and then you come with a comprehensive plan and do a TIF to cover your gentrification, and it's going farther than that, genocide. And that's what's happening, genocide. And then I looked at, I know Mr. Charles Hand too. He has a TIF when it comes to that Vulcan plant, the property. You all know. Okay? He has that TIF. I am submitting to you all to get the paperwork. I got the application, and you have to do it quick and in a hurry now because they're going to get out. A bunch of African American people need to come together and ask for that, what is called Frosty Moen building. You need to ask for that. That should be it should be earmarked for a African American development TIF. You got me? Okay. So now, Lincoln Home revitalization and surrounding area. If Lincoln Home does not pay attention and really know what's going on in the codes, TIF, and all this, it's a possibility because they're not going to let Mr. Hand build that baseball stadium or whatever it is, and those people in Lincoln Home walking up and down it, they're not going to do that. The reason I know, they bamboozled the people in Memphis. All the parties in Memphis, they told them, once we revitalize it, you can come back and move in. Once they move you out, sometimes they change the rule to the game. Only 3% of the people in Memphis moved back into those apartments. Because first of all, the rule was if you had someone arrested in your household, you could not move back in there. And then if you look at this plan, because they divide the plan, they have the Clarksville, Montgomery County comprehensive plan. Then they have the separate Red River neighborhood plan. That's the one that I'm interested in. It's so much systemic racism even in the wording of this plan. But we have to go page by page, okay? This is a lot to digest, you all. Bear with me. Pastor, you with me over there? The South gonna rise again. So now, Clarksville, Montgomery County plan states live, work, and play. You do know poor people, they don't have no time to play. They just trying to survive, right? Trying to survive. And so these people is work, and dying. Because I submit to you that systemic policies and procedures have caused some of the crime going on in Clarksville, and be careful what you pray for. Clarksville is growing, but they have not addressed crime in their plan. Memphis is in that situation now. We're dodging bullets left and right. It's a war zone. In 5 years, take me at my word. If Clarksville does not get serious about the drugs, the gang affiliation, and they talking about teenagers. And by the way, because I'm going to wrap it up, they trying to vote on a juvenile detention center. I find that's a slap in our face. Because what they need to do is be talking about, because you have adverse community experiences. Some of these children go through traumatic experiences every day. Their father in jail. The mama strung out on meth or whatever the case may be. They living in poverty. Going to school with their belly empty. Illiteracy. Drugs. Economic disparities. Exposure to environmental injustice. See, many people live in lead houses. Okay? So you have to take the holistic approach when you write a comprehensive plan. And I'm telling you that this plan that Clarksville has on the table today, it needs to be scrapped or amended. Aren't you all going to the table with me? No justice, no peace. So now, disparities in the judicial system. We got to come up with something, you all. No black judge in Montgomery County. So what we need to do is get us a list. I talk about the hit list. But now we got to get another list of good candidates that can run for judge. I know Attorney Neal did. And I don't understand why you all didn't vote for her. That's another subject matter right there. See, because we got to get past these personalities and who we don't like and who we like. That's petty right there. All right. Assessment of limited government positions held by African American in Economic Development Council and Regional Planning. Correct me if I'm wrong. When I research, there's no African American that holding powerful positions to make powerful decisions about regional planning and economic development. Why is that? They'll let you be the accountant, they'll let you be the secretary, but why you're not in positions, and I looked at some of the city council. They're not in the economic development part. That's where most of the money, the billions and trillions of dollars going through the door to rich developers coming into Clarksville. Name me one African American plant or distribution or business that they have recruited to Clarksville. Thank you. So we need to talk about diversity. And we need to go down to the city council, county commission, and show up and show out. Where 2 or 3 may gather, we're going to have church. Y'all can't be afraid running with me. If you're afraid to die, you just want to walk out this church now. Now, tax incentives and TIF. We need to demand and put in paperwork, because you can't just demand anything. You need to talk about having tax incentives and a TIF for African Americans in Clarksville. When I researched it, there's no, correct me if I'm wrong politically, there's no African American community, and Pastor, this is where you come in at. Is he asleep over there? Wake up, Pastor. Now, most of the money, stay with me, most of the money, PPP 2, you had a lot of white churches receive major PPPs. The black church, we need to stop taking the crumbs, 20,000, 25,000. We had churches up in Memphis, $10 million. Pull the PPP from the state of Tennessee. I did. I don't have no life. That's what I do. So, only my donkey, he be looking too like I need to run off from this woman. When they gave the white churches and the white business PPPs, it was forgivable. Now they're putting some black folks in jail because they received little small PPPs. Stop taking penny money. Pastor, roll with me. They getting ready to, I think, January 17th, the Community Development Block Grant. That's the deadline. Politician, that's right. That's the deadline, January 17th. You need to apply, because you can't be a religious, a church, but you can have a school or some type of outreach program. You need to apply for that community development block grant. Who heard of it? And on top of that, we're missing money because we don't have the knowledge. Or we have the, what you call the, I'm going to have to drive Jimmy down the street. The community block grant here, go right here. I printed it out. And then we have the first time home buyer program. Raise your hand, you heard that before. How many have applied for it? We need to pay attention. If you don't need it, tell somebody else. Okay? With that said, I'm trying to go fast, you all. But I'm going to educate you on what tax incentives. They having people from all over the world coming to Clarksville, getting tax incentives. We have to educate ourselves. A payment in lieu of taxes. Then we need to talk about a community land trust governed by African American people in Clarksville. You all don't know where I'm going yet, but when I explain to you what a TIF is and what a land trust is, you understand it by and by, because that's how we're getting bamboozled. We're not at the table. Due to our own ignorance, we play too much and stay too long. And moving on, create a affordable home trust fund. I'm a developer. Every game they can play, I've been there, done that, and got 2 or 3 T-shirts for it. When I stand up in the city council, they get to shaking. They get to shake. What y'all doing? I'm a nurse, by the way, too. But my CPR is rusty. Don't worry about that, y'all. But I let it slip. Now, I think this is a good idea. Here you are. Pastor, we already have church now. Clarksville have a Chamber of Commerce. Carl, years ago, we started, what was that called? We started that 20-some years ago in Clarksville. But that's where you had people like Reverend Jerkins, Jerry Jerkins, Jimmy Terry, Pastor Freeman, excuse me, Barbara Johnson, Miss Darden, Irma Darden. Those people made these people shake, rattle, and roll in Clarksville. But now people got too complacent. Okay? We need to start a Clarksville Black Chamber of Commerce. And then when we start a Clarksville Black Chamber of Commerce, we can sit at the table of the Clarksville Economic Council. Because they have 5 people from the Chamber of Commerce on their board. Thank you. She's so sweet. I'm going to take you and get a crystal. You all have crystal here? You know I'm cheap, you all. I shop at Goodwill. So, but we think about this now, because in order, people are not going to give you anything. You have to demand it. So when they hear we're getting ready to, now let me take that back. We're not getting ready to do anything. I'm smarter than that. I already created the Clarksville Black Chamber of Commerce, so nobody else will get the idea. Hello, somebody. I'm not crazy. You think I'm going to announce it in public? And people who look like us, oh Lord, you know, these black folks have lost their mind. They better come on the board now. Marcus Garvey tried to put you on that ship. I'm trying to put you on that ship. We're going somewhere. Clarksville, this is being strategic, because this is going to be a different arm here. NAACP is the biggest and the boldest and the oldest. We're getting ready to implement it's called Black Liberation Association of Cultural Kinship. And we want to work hand in hand with the NAACP, because there's certain things the NAACP can't do because they govern by headquarters. You with me? But we're not going to be governed by no head. We're going to be governed by the people for the people. That's how we're going to do that. But NAACP have the history and the longevity. You with me? And hopefully, President Jimmy, you see where I'm going. You see what you all can't do, we're going to kick the door down. Matter of fact, we're going to kick the door down and paint the door another color. That's how we're going to do that, because we got to be bold about this thing. People already know everything I'm talking about. People already know. They 10 steps ahead of us because they know we're not going to do anything. Now, let's go ahead and do some resolution here and take away. I propose to you all that we get a black agenda plan of action. We're also going to force them to do a comprehensive diversity and inclusion plan that also create measurable goals, actionable goals. Because right now they plan ain't doing nothing but sitting there accumulating dust. We also want a social economic impact study performed for Clarksville and Montgomery County as it relates to the African American community. I got January, but they say it's February. We got enough time to plot our plan, you all. But we need to put that plan on hold so they can get more community participant at the table. It's been reported that they had 690. That's not a good sampling size. Memphis had 14,000. I brought 20,000 on my petition, and that's what we're going to do for Clarksville. If they don't want to cease the plan, we're going to be diplomatic. We're going to bring thousands of petitions to them. If they don't want to operate like that, then they're going to look at that injunction lawsuit one way or another. You got to know how to play ball, period. And yeah, by the way, you are. I've been a community activist all my life. They sometimes they put what they call infiltrate in your meeting. Did you all know that? Run tell that. See, you got to understand, when you're a community activist, they'll use a black face, and then soon we get out that meeting, they going and telling Mayor Pitts, and what's the other one in West Golden? I know the game, and I'm going to tell you how I know it, then I'll let you go. When I was going to Austin P, President Page was the president at that time, and I can't remember the first name, but he was a handsome little white dude, had real pretty hair and stuff, and he was fair. And, troublemaker here, because I'm going to get my money worth. I gave Austin P. pure D shucking when I was there. We walked out of Austin P. But, Carl, don't you tell the story about when I seen their mascot. Don't tell that story. So we walked out of Austin P. because Dr. Mark and Dr. Stovall, them powerful brothers, we went to them, we said, look, we don't have no representation in Austin P. I don't see no black professors. We need a culture center. See, I was on my buffoon a long time. And we forced with our manifesto. I didn't even know what a manifesto was at that time. But I was stepping. Manifesto, I said, I could go look it up. We went out and protest, and that's why you see that African American Culture Center out there. Now, they tried to get slick. 5 years later, they want to turn to a multicultural. I don't have no problem, love diversity. But you're going to have your multicultural center over there. We're going to have the African American center over here. We got to stop. I believe in diversity, inclusion, but I do not believe in dilution. Okay? We let people dilute us too much. Because, again, we don't stand for something, we'll fall for everything. We play too much. So now, it's not nobody else's problem, it's our problem. Are you ready to fight? Because I came all the way to Clarksville. Could be eating me some crab leg. Are you all ready? Because if you're scary, stay at home. Because I may run over you. I'm not going to play with you now. You know Harry Tubman. Well, I'm going to tell you what Harry Tubman. I can't say that in the pastor church. Now, physical budget. We need to identify the local, state, federal funds allocated to African American businesses. I can tell you that right now. We're going to pull them on the carpet. We're going to make them tell their own lie. I have a dream. Dr. Martin Luther King, they want to celebrate you, but they're not celebrating what you represent. Okay? You was against housing disparities, voting suppression, taxation without representation, fair wages. And now here today in 2024, we're still fighting for what we were fighting 60, 70 years ago. I'm ready to fight. And I don't take no territory. I do my jumping jacks every day. Okay? So let's not play. This is celebratory. We do a march. And after we do that march, we go home and go to sleep. This is a day on. The fight is on. What would Dr. Martin Luther King think today? What would Malcolm X think today? The Black Panther, what would they think? That we lazy and afraid to fight. I'm going to die for the cause. Physical budget, we need to act on that. And then economic development funds for African American. I challenge anyone in this room to show me any paperwork where they have given substantial amount of money, economic development, to any church. And I think of one, Pastor Harris Church. He's got that beautiful edifice of a life center over there. And he's having to sell that building. That's a disgrace. We need to force them with that community development block grant. I don't care where they come up with it. They can come up with it when they want to bring other people to Clarksville. I don't care if they pull it out of a hat, but we got to force their hand. And Pastor, what you want? Call them up on the main line. Because if whatever you want, I'm going to be the sacrificial lamb. Trust me. When I go, now this is the trick now, you all. I'm looking for me a house. I got to give me a dog house. Because you know you can't go to the city council, county commission, running your mouth. First thing they ask you, what's your address? See, I'm not that stupid. Okay? So I got to find me a little dog house around here to come to. So I'm looking for that. But anyway, I'm going to close, and I hope you learn a little bit. The information is so detailed, you can't do it in 2 hours. But I want us to have a follow-up meeting and talk in details about the TIF and the pallet in lieu of taxes, because that TIF is where they give a lot of partial, okay? And then I can show you the application, but I don't know where it's now. But this is the tax increment incentive application here. And it's simple, but you have to have a plan of action. You can't go there, well, you know, my grandpapa had a lot over. That's not how TIF operate. Or they took my grandfather's land 30 years ago. What are you talking about? You certainly having a dream. They ain't trying to hear that. But if that frosty morn, that's what you need to be. Because I tried, Carl Mosley, I tried to talk African American 20 years ago to buy that Vulcan. They wasn't ready. So now, we back again, acting like little slaves on the plantation, begging for crumbs. And so I want to show you all these shackles before I go. Are you free or are you still a slave? These are authentic shackles that they was trying to get rid of, but 40 years ago, I started collecting. They can remove black history out of whatever book they want. But our history is in our mind. We're standing on the backs and the necks of our ancestors. They cannot remove that history. And it's upon us to teach our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and that's why this sister here fighting so hard for her grandchild, or grandchildren, because she understands that kinship roots. We have to take their responsibility. If they try to open up a juvenile detention center here, we go in the back. Our shop, we're going to be marching. I'm going to give me some Goodwill shoes. We're going to be marching till the cows come home, okay? But these are the shackles here. And if you never held on some shackles, you can hold them. Let me show you one more thing how this goes. Did you enjoy the exhibit? This is a slave car, 17th century. Let us never forget Yes, our history is painful. But if we do not address our history, we're going to repeat the past. And I will say to you today, we're living in a new Jim Crow era. God bless you. Thank you for coming. The next time we have a meeting, and I appreciate the political leaders coming out. That was bold for you to come out. Commissioner Shelton, I'd got a brother, a vanilla brother in you. Now, when I come up there, I'm not going to act no fool when I come up there. But I'm going to say, hey, brother. No, in Montgomery County. Hey, Brother Shelton. Now, don't you go down on that desk now. And I already know City Councilwoman Reynolds. She gave me the most loving hug when I first met her as a stranger. So I know she's not going to go under that desk. Okay. Good night. Thank you all for listening. Did you learn anything today? We're going to set another meeting. But right now, I have to go and find Natasha Hinton because she's in Indiana. And I can tell y'all right now, if anything happened to that sister, I'm going to put Clarksville on the map. They're trying to play a game now because we have pulled the sheet from over. Most of the time when you get arrested, don't they transfer you back to Clarksville? So why I can't find her? So I got to drive to Indiana. I'm not going nowhere. They got to be accountable to the community. Let's not be divisive. When we go and confront these people, they have wronged this woman. Now, she has not been a 100% innocent woman. She made some mistakes. But to put 4 arrest warrants on her, and here this young lady didn't even have a driving ticket, it's time to fight. It's time to fight. So I'm saying to you, Faye, I'm putting my life on you too. Now Faye more, and I always talk, because we sisterhood, I always talk, I say, she's more emotional, I'm more strategic. Okay? Faye gonna be standing up there talking, and I've been and took their neck all the way around. So we got to measure out. When you go to the city council, stop being so reactionary. People don't take you serious when you're up there acting a fool because they know you only have 2 or 3 minutes. Go dignified with your plan of action. Because once you put your plan of action into the record, then you pardon then. All that on lip service, they don't mean nothing to them. Think about it. But good night and thank you and God bless you. And I always like to end my speech with a prayer if you all don't mind. Because God is what power me. Oh, omnipotent God. Oh, Heavenly Father. We just thank you for this day. We thank you for my sisters and brothers coming out and listening to me and coming out and trying to listen to the voice of the people. Lord, I ask you to give a special blessing to my beloved student who drove from Springfield just to see her nerdy professor. Oh God, I just ask that you cover Clarksville, Tennessee, the city that I love, Lord. Cover this city. Lord, break the chain of racism in this city. Open the hearts of the city council, women and men, the county commissioner, mayors. Take their rose-colored glasses off their eyes and let them start treating people like people. Lord, Clarksville needs you now. State of Tennessee needs you now. The America needs you now, Lord. Go up in the state of Tennessee and change these people's mind. This is not about politics, right or wrong. This is about human rights. And Lord, I ask you, please do not let, it's getting ready to snow. Don't let one brother or sister freeze to death on the streets. Let our politician go and do some type of homeless plan for them, especially our veterans. They gave their very life for this country. And in my opinion, they should have a house when they came back, free of charge. This I ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Picture? I don't know about no picture. Oh, where's she at? Right here? Yes. Pastor, could you come up for a minute?